Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Tona Brown. I'm your host, Tona Brown, and I'm here with some fabulous guests that are doing me a huge favor. I'm here with Doug and Andrea, who is a loving couple that I've known online who are willing to tell us more about their relationship. So you guys are going to hear about that. And one of my best friends, Mr. Troy Kennedy. Welcome, everyone, to Conversations with Tona Brown. How are you all doing today?
Wonderful.
Hanging in there, hanging in there.
I'm a little hoarse, so I may be sounding more Barry White today than usual. But I'm doing great.
Good. You know, everyone knows my birthday is tomorrow. I'm going to be turning 45, and I totally lost my voice for the past 3 days. So I understand where you're coming from as far as voice is concerned. But what we want to talk about on this show today is love and relationships. And I'm going to let you, Troy, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the first time that you were in a long-term relationship with one of the girls, or as we call them, trans women. I want you to tell us your story before I go into Doug and Andrea and their love story.
Well, my first long-term relationship was actually my first real attempt at a relationship because of the struggles that we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
I was all over the board. I did not have the capacity, nor did I have an understanding on what a relationship was. So I met someone. I decided, after my divorce that I was going to do this and do this properly. I did stumble a lot. I did make mistakes. The biggest mistake was because I'd spent so long keeping a part of myself hidden. I just used to continue those same behaviors of not being forthcoming, of hiding a part of who I was because I was always guarded. I was always just didn't have the ability to share because I didn't know how to share. So in the beginning, it was very rough. We had some high highs and some low lows, but I was determined to stick with it, and that lasted for over 10 years. She ended up helping raise my children. My youngest son was 3 at the time, so that was his mother figure. My other son that would have made him carry the 2 divided by, he was 14. And so it was a different dynamic with each son, because my youngest son really didn't understand anything. This was just, the woman that his dad was dating and his dad lived with. But with my other son, I had to explain to him that she was a trans woman, what that meant. And he had some accepting and growing up to do, but it was a very quick turnaround. Even to this day, they're both grown, 38 and 27 at this point. And they still call her mom. I mean, they literally have, they still have a mother and son relationship with her. They do tell her things sometimes that they don't tell me. And then she picks up the phone and she calls me and tells me what they talked about. So, that part of the relationship, understanding, being able to share, being able to be your true self, your true authentic self, was what made that successful. And my learning process to get there, I think, was the biggest hurdle and issue that we had in that relationship. But
Yeah,
again,
and that's what I was gonna, not to interrupt you, but while it's on my mind, what I was going to ask was, do you find that what your situation was with the struggle is the typical situation that most men go through when they find themselves in a relationship with a transgender woman or a woman in general, however you want to say it? Do you feel that that was typical from what you've learned from dealing with other men?
oh, absolutely. It's, you have to unlearn what you have learned, as I've told the brothers. We, when you don't live that way, when you don't look in the mirror and be honest with yourself, then of course you can't be honest with that person that you love. And as my mom has always said, you must like, love, and respect yourself before you have the capacity and the ability to like, love, and respect someone else. So those were the things that I had to learn and to understand prior into getting to that relationship. So it took a while to understand what self love looked like and being honest with myself and then transferring that to her. So those were the things that were like the biggest hurdles. It was mostly me. I was the hurdle. I was my biggest obstacle. But once I knocked down that tree, everything was fine.
And Doug, do you agree? Do you think his situation was similar to yours at all, or?
Is a lot of similarities, but I was a little bit more open. I just kept living my life just as it was. I didn't even know I was considered to be on the DL. I just was doing
Mm,
me and whatever else people thought. And then somebody's like, "Oh, you're on the DL," and I was like, "No." And then I met someone before Andrea that was okay, but then we met through friends, and I've just been the same guy the whole time. Like I wasn't really like trying to keep everything a secret. Like I had the secret, but it was just like I'm just living. Like if somebody asks, then I'll say something. Other than that, it was nobody else's business.
mm-hmm. Wow. And I respect that. And I think that if more guys who are going to be listening to this, even if they just follow that, like living your truth, whoever you're happy with, is what is the person that makes you happy. It shouldn't matter what other people think, but we all know that everyone is not that strong, unfortunately.
That's funny. I've
But
heard that before too. It's like I wasn't being strong. I was just being a guy.
mm-hmm.
I was just being what I thought I was, and like I'm the dude who's just out here doing my thing. And if somebody's got a problem with it, screw them.
Mm,
I'm just putting
mm-hmm.
business.
Well, that is strong. What you just said, that is strong. That's strength. That's courage. That's saying screw everyone else, which means that you know that there are other people that might have something to say about it, and you didn't care. You
Yeah,
went for who you love, and we need to see and hear more of that in our community. So, speaking of both of you, can you guys tell us, Doug and Andrea, where did you guys meet?
you like to tell this story.
It's very interesting, and it's a pleasant story to tell our children. I had a girlfriend. Her name was Jackie Adams. She has since passed on, but
Mm,
she worked at an agency downtown, and so did I. And I was supposed to take her home and cook girlfriend dinner that evening, and us watch movies and whatever. She said, "Okay." So when it earlier that day, I was at her office and I saw this gorgeous man standing there talking to her. When he wasn't around, I asked her, "Who was that?" And she was like, "Oh, that's just a friend of mine, blah, blah, blah." Then, when I came back that afternoon to pick her up, to meet her, and we go home to my house for dinner, she's standing there talking to that man. And when I walked up, she's talking to him. She introduced us and she said, "Oh, Andrea, this is Doug. Doug, this is Andrea. Andrea's supposed to be frying chicken." As we're shaking hands, she walks off.
okay.
I let her tell the story from her point of view, but the same token, I had seen her weeks before, and
Oh.
I was trying to talk to her, like, "Hey, how you doing?" Blah blah. She walked by like she was deaf,
Uh,
just ignoring me. I was like, So my friend Jackie, she was like, her boyfriend's here with her, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave her alone." And
mm.
just so happened they had their falling out and the dinner. And when she introduced, she just like shake hands, and she walks off. And I'm just like, does she know? I was stunned too. I was stunned. Like I'm like, she know I've been trying to talk to her, and we just hit it off. Went and had the dinner and everything, and the story unfolds. And
He says, Well, I hear you frying chicken. I like chicken. We got on the
I
10
said,
trolley and the
I said,
rest is her story.
and I said that chicken better be good, and it
I
was,
know that's right.
and it was. So,
I know that's right. Sister can cook. I know that's right. And so after you guys had your initial and you begin, did you have the conversation about, did you already know that she was transgender or?
yes,
Okay. So you didn't have to have
I
a
was.
conversation about that.
Well, she knows Jackie. I know Jackie. It was like, oh, she's one of the girls, so I'll be okay. Um, the 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 issue was she's got this big LaMour clique that I had to get integrated into. Yeah, that,
Ooh, that, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Doug. Because we do tend to have our cliques now and we bring these men into. Tell us a little bit more about that.
It's not a clique.
they got a what's the award the city gave y'all? Gave the LaMours?
Y'all,
I'm saying y'all for a minute. Just let that ride, okay? And so there's a what was the city thing?
proclamation,
Yeah, we got a city proclamation and everything for the house. What's the
Mm-hmm.
house?
the House of LaMour. It is, but here's the thing. When I say the House of LaMour, I don't mean going to a
It's
ball.
not a ball house.
I don't mean where, we're trying to have categories or anything like that, or where you have to do anything
It's not
to
like Pose.
please anyone. When I
Okay.
say the House of LaMour, I mean more like a home. When you watch Pose, the real true Pose, not what is everyone thought
We
about us,
aren't we all old enough to remember?
that is the House of LaMour. When there's children that need to be fed, children that don't have anywhere to go for Christmas,
Mm-hmm. That's
children
right.
that don't know what it's like to have a birthday party.
Mm.
No. And when I say children, we could be talking about people that are 30, 40, 50 years old who've never experienced true love from people unconditionally without having to jump through hoops for it. That's
Mm-hmm.
when I say the House of LaMour. And you don't have to be initiated. You don't have to, when you come to me and you say that, you feel the love and you just want to be a part, well, then you just became a part,
Mm-hmm.
period. So much so that him and I have been spotlighted in the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Both.
It was the Inquirer.
Was it? Yeah,
Yes, the Philadelphia Inquirer for mentoring at-risk youth and housing people that didn't have a family and showing them what love was.
As a matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
moved out this morning.
Yeah, one just moved out today to get their own spot.
But again, what Doug was saying was that he had to get acclimated to get to know people that you were already established with your own group. So how was that, integrating him into your world of the House of LaMour and all that kind of stuff? How was that?
Some didn't like me, some love me.
Yeah,
That's
Because
real.
I basically stay a dude all the time. So when they start to getting flip and talking, and they be this and girl that, I'm like, who you talking to?
Right.
I'm not I'm not used to that. So let's understand, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
I sat on the side and did not involve myself in a lot of that because he had every right. Because yes, I may be mother of the house,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to do this by myself all the time.
There it
I'm the
is.
step I'm the step peppy.
And And, but when he stepped into my life, he wasn't stepdaddy because as soon as he stepped in, my oldest children, they challenged him a little bit, but once they understood that this was a man who was secure in his spot as a man,
Mm-hmm.
fell in love with him and fell behind him and
Mm.
looked up to this man and would do
Mm-hmm.
anything for him. that I didn't have to worry about. So it wasn't a really big challenge. It was just they just wanted to challenge his authority. But once they
I
realized
mean,
that
I
this
try to
was
help
a
out.
man, this was no, let's be real, no butch queen. This was no somebody that was unsure of where they were as a man. This was an
Hmm.
actual man,
Right.
secure. All that went right on to the side because
Hmm.
they understood I could get popped in the mouth. I would get popped in the mouth. So let me sit down.
Okay. Okay. So now, how
And,
long have you all been together? How many
uh,
years?
20, 20, 22 and a half ish. But as a
Kind
couple, 21 will be our
kind
anniversary.
of 22, I would say 22
27.
and a half.
Okay.
But we actually made it official. He says January 2nd. I say January 1st. But it was a New Year's situation where we had the New Year. We partied
I
all
was a little
night,
tipsy, so I
whatever.
thought it was the next day.
And my brother was sitting in my room, in my bedroom. We weren't living together, but my brother was sitting in my room, and we were changing the channel or something.
Mm.
Somebody calls on my cell phone. So as they're talking to me on my cell phone, he and my brother are sitting there talking, and they asked me, "So who all is over?" And I said, "Well, I have my good friend and my brother over." Douglas's head spun around like he was in The Exorcist and was like, "That's all I get."
All I get is
Mm.
girlfriend.
That's
I'm hurt.
but
I'm hurt.
that's all I get. And I wasn't
And then
actually used to a
wait,
man like him, so
wait.
I didn't not want to assume and take anything for granted.
But wait, what
For
did
real,
you?
for
No,
real.
no, no. What did you really say? And I was like, but all I get is a good friend, and she was stuttering.
I did
I don't know what to
because
say.
he did catch me off guard, and but at that moment is when we actually realized this is not a friendship.
Hmm. Yeah. And
No,
now, Andrea, you mentioned you weren't used to a man like him. What type of men were you used to before him?
I'll just be honest. I had
Hmm.
very bad taste in men.
How so?
I thought the more streety, the more thuggy he was, that was the
You
man.
left out
I
one.
thought, and most of the time, because I know that as a trans woman, I'm a lot to deal with. Most of the time, I would deal with a guy that
Cuckoo
had
for Cocoa
something
Puffs.
something wrong with him. As far as
Doug?
others were hard to get along with him, but he loved me, so it was nothing like that.
Hmm.
I did not like. I didn't like men that were quiet,
Hmm.
low key.
Hmm.
But when I got with Douglas, Douglas can be rambunctious. Douglas can be, over the top or whatever. But
Just say
for the
goofy.
for the most part, Doug is very calm natured. He's just chill
Hmm.
most of the time. He's not, and that's kind of what I needed in a guy. So that's what I mean when I wasn't used to a man like him. He's the yin to my yang
Right, right.
because me being a performer, me being the
Switch
minister, me
that.
being the trans woman, me being the everyday woman, all of that, and the regular worker, it's a lot of hats. So I'm always on the go. I have to always be on spot, on upbeat. I need somebody like him to be like, wait a minute, now, calm
Hmm.
down,
Can you pause for a second?
chill. Sometimes he has to yank me
Can,
to settle me down, but I need it.
can you pause for a
Mm.
second?
Yes.
She skipped the part where she liked the guys who are always pretending to be more than they are.
Ooh, well, tell
I'm a
us.
man. I'm a man. Yo, 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 I'm a man. You know that type of stuff.
That was the whole point. Okay, I understand that.
No, you was sugarcoating it.
No, they were.
Perform performative manhood is what you're trying to say, Doug.
Yeah.
I don't want to say incorrect words.
Oh yeah,
I'm,
she
I'm
doesn't do
trying.
the terminologies. Neither do I, but I'm gonna make fun of her.
For where I work, I have to watch my words. What I will say is Most of them were mentally incapacitated.
Not incapacitated, but not all there yet.
So now you understand.
We get it. We totally do. Yes. And I think that a lot of us can relate to what you're saying. Big
Yeah.
time.
Oh, I mean, just be a guy. Just be a dude. Be yourself. But if you always got to be super street, you're doing too much. Like it's like, how many fights did you have with a couple of those guys?
Oh, I mean, I had to get physical with a couple, yes.
Mm.
You see how she did that? You see how she did that?
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But it is the reality for a lot of us. It really is. And a lot of the men who are attracted to the girls oftentimes have some
Bad.
very sordid backgrounds. And you can even read it in my book.
And the good guys
A
be
number of
bypassed.
the men that I met along the way. So I totally get it. I understand. I understand. Now, Troy, do you have any questions for Doug and Andrea?
Well, I talk to Doug just about every day. Doug and I, we met through social media, years and years and years and years and years
Almost
and
a
years.
decade. Not that long. It's almost a decade.
Well, it was a long time ago, and we really hit it off. I, I it's difficult meeting like-minded men who we can have higher level conversations with a level of honesty and truth. So there are times when I will pick up the phone and call Doug and just pitch a scenario, something I'm going through, and we'll have a talk. We could just talk about just subject, just like labels. There was my biggest thing now. Doug has done a lot to help me grow. Um, I know sometimes when I call and I know Andrea just goes, there's that Troy again, because we do talk a lot.
We have
No,
4 or 5 hour conversations.
I'm glad that he has someone that he can speak with in the same manner.
Right.
Seriously, for
Absolutely.
him, because there's so much that goes on in his mind that doesn't challenge, that he has no outlet to challenge or, how can I say it, to manipulate those parts of his mind. When
Hmm.
he talks to Troy, the excitement, the energy that they talk to one another, I'm glad for him that he has that. I really am.
Well,
Troy.
I have a quick question. Because you guys have been together for so long, what do you think has been the biggest challenge, even if it's just within the LGBTQ community? What do you think has been the biggest challenge to the longevity of your relationship?
Ooh, you. Can I start?
Go ahead.
So, being able to understand people's stupidity, like we've had some major ups and downs that other people be like, oh, there's red flags and all that sort of stuff, but having patience enough to uh, uh, wade through the muck and the mire. It's like, hey, we're gonna be in a relationship. Strap up, put your wading shoes on, and we gonna do this, and not worry about what other people think. Because, oh, girl, you should leave him. He did this so to you. Like, I'm sorry, and mean it, and it brings the relationship part of coupling. There's a difference between coupling and actually having a relationship. People will quickly hook up with each other and move on because, oh, she smokes. I don't like smokers. Oh, he does, he's an old fuddy duddy. He doesn't do anything. She likes the club a lot. I barely go to the club. But she's also performing. So I'm like, cool, go perform. I ain't doing nothing. I'm gonna go play PlayStation or something.
Hmm.
Go get your hustle on. Do what you gotta do. I'm good.
Hmm.
But then I had some major mess ups because I'm thinking some other stuff because. And then it's like, well, how many times did you tell me to get out? You don't know? was like 5 or 6 times.
That's real. That's real.
But I mean, I recognized I was doing stupid stuff. I was like, yeah,
Mm.
you're right. But I don't want to break up over just that.
Mm-hmm.
We can get past. What's it? Huh? Sit back. She tried to whisper, "Sit back." There's some couple stuff. Just do a couple things. But yeah, it's we've gotten in today's society, we've gotten to the point where we make up catchphrases to bandage over our emotional issues when it comes to dealing with each other.
That's good. I like that. That's a good point.
Instead of actually dealing with it, um, people will walk away from a relationship, and then the first thing they want to start saying is people are narcissists, not realizing that narcissists are the only people who call other people narcissists. I don't use that word as a normal word in my vocabulary because there's no need to. But we've come to this point where we say we're relationship oriented, but then everything's got to be to a level of perfection that just doesn't exist. And that's why we're all sitting around and be like, oh, if I'm gonna get with her, she's got to be like this. Oh, she's got to be malleable. She's got to evolve. And it's like, well, bro, when are you gonna evolve?
Mm.
You can't project stuff on people. Well, you shouldn't. I'm sorry. You shouldn't project things on people that you yourself are not even doing. I asked Andrea
Can you
not to
give an
smoke.
example?
Well, I asked Andrea, I don't like smoking. Can you give it up?
I gave up smoking.
Okay. And
Well,
wait. We're not gonna go to that part yet. I didn't used to indulge in cannabinoids. Now I do because it's something she said, and my doctor said it was fine, and I said, cool. You know, every now and again. But we hashed things out as well as talked them out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I say hash because there's a lot of people who don't like the word compromise or settling for things.
true.
People don't like to compromise or settle, make a deal with the person. You got to come. What do you bring to the table? Well, I don't know yet. I mean, I might be able to bring even more than what I think I'm bringing. I
Mm-hmm.
might not have anything to bring. Just, hey, how you doing?
Sometimes in the middle of knowing what you need or what you want, your needs or your wants change.
Big time.
And just because you're with someone and your needs or your wants change for you does not necessarily mean it's a priority in someone else's life if you have included them in yours.
Mm. Mm.
So we've had to learn together that me being having so many hats to wear, right? Especially going from just being a performer when we got together to then being an activist to then, one moment I might be on Capitol Hill giving a speech in front of the cameras. The next moment I'm actually in someone's house turning them, giving them a bath,
Mm-hmm.
bathing them, trying to transfer them from their bed to a wheelchair. Or
Mm-hmm.
the next, you know what I mean? All of these different hats. My needs went totally left when then ministry came into play. And now I'm an associate pastor. Needs and wants and things changed with not only my location, my situation, and he was included. And I couldn't just if he doesn't want to go to church and I'm going, I can't let that be an argument.
Mm. Wow.
If I go to do a show and I see that he does not want to go, I'm not gonna sit there and get upset because okay, that's not really his thing.
But I load the car for you though, right?
Yes, he will. He will help me in other ways. And then when I get home, unload the car, whatever have you. That type of
Hmm.
thing. So
Yeah.
he may not do everything that I need, everything that I want for my situation at that time or what calls for, but he's there to support me.
Hmm.
And when he goes to do things, when he's having all of the conversations with Troy, okay,
Absolutely.
and I go in the other room, watch some Dark Shadows or something, you know, and
Right.
allow him to have that man time and do what he has to do. And sometimes it may be far and in between where they speak or whatever, where he may not have to have all of that man time. But then when it comes, sit back and just hush.
She
Hmm.
watches
Yeah.
Dark Shadows. She watches Dark Shadows so much. As soon as she said the word, I heard it go off in my head. That's why I had to go through all of that. It's so
Mm.
much, so much.
Well, I was going to ask you guys what advice you would give a young
Be
couple,
flexible.
but I think you already did. I think you basically said some very important points
Flexible.
for people.
And what I can add, I think because of their relationship, Doug has used that wisdom for me, and we're men of a certain age, and sometimes we are very hard headed, and we've gotten to shouting matches, like literal shouting matches, where I'm and hanging up the phone and just you know
And I wait.
not right, right, and there's been a couple of occasions, especially when he was talking about labels earlier, not prescribing to them. At one point in my life, and Tona, you were a part of this when we started using the term trans attracted because it didn't simply exist. And we started using it and it became a thing. But as I've grown, and we're talking about evolution and evolving and growing, I've kind of grown out of that term because, you know, I like women. I've dated cis women and trans women. My preference leans towards trans women very, very strongly. But I think using that label and what Doug was trying to get me to understand is sometimes those labels are very confining. They put you in a box and you don't want to put yourself in a box because once you put yourself in that box, the expectations of who you are and what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it are very, very limited. So those are the kind of conversations, those upper level conversations that are far beyond what we call, trans attraction 101, that this is relationship. This is man talk. This is talking about growth and evolution that a lot of people don't have the capacity to have those conversations. And you need people in your life like that, because Doug has Andrea, because I have you, Tona, as a friend, because we've talked for thousands and hundreds of thousands of hours, you know, trying to steer each other in the right direction. And sometimes I don't get your point, and sometimes you don't get my point, and sometimes we cross. I come to your side, you come to my side. Those are the things that I think this community needs, and we are so separate. We have this camp and that camp. And last night I had an opportunity to deal with somebody from that other camp, somebody who had been in my life, who caused me a lot of strife and trouble and mental drama and caused a wedge between us. And I said, you know what? Because of where I am in my life, because of who I have in my life, because I'm in a relationship now with someone who is absolutely amazing. I said, you know what? I don't even need to do this. And I allowed her in this. We hadn't shared a space in really in 9 years almost. And it's almost 9 years to the day. On Tona's birthday, we broke up 9 years ago. Uh, it was just really, really ironic. And then that today we're having this conversation. It's just things come full circle. And those are some of the things that if I didn't have a Doug in my life, I didn't have a Tona Brown in my life, if I didn't have my woman Stacia in my life right now, I just, these things I don't think these things would happen. So we
Mm.
have to build relationships, relationships with friends, relationship with, with men and women, relationships with, both platonic and romantic, to make us a better person and a whole person. And I think this interaction that we're having, even this podcast, hopefully is allowing people who are listening to us to understand that first, take a look at yourself. As Doug said earlier, look at yourself, get your stuff together. And then you're able to be open and honest and to live a better life and to be a better partner, a better person for the people in your life.
Absolutely. We're running out of time, but I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for coming on Conversations with Tona Brown and having this very important conversation. And I would love to continue and have more conversations about our beautiful, loving, committed and monogamous relationships, that they are possible in our community. I also love the fact that although my audience is very broad, but I love the fact that we're getting to talk about this as people of color, because you also know that there are so many stereotypes and stigmas and everything else about people of color, what our relationships look like, and all of those things. So this just really warms my heart, especially for this to be right before my birthday. Thank you all so much. Is there anything you
Happy
guys?
birthday, sister.
Thank you. Is there anything that you all could leave us, for those of us, let's say like myself, who's single and looking, or if there's any tips or advice or anything that you all could give for us, whether we're, no matter what our age is or anything else?
As a trans woman who stands 10 toes down every day, the only thing that I could say to my sisters and brothers and everyone in between is stay authentic.
Okay, I like that. Doug?
People like to say keep it 100. There's another level to that where you got you have to understand what 100 means, and it's not just being authentic, but it's maintaining that, how you say it,
Authenticity?
authenticity, yeah. Because a lot of people take it and they amplify it to the point where, well, if they want me, they got to deal with me, and you lose a level of flexibility, and you wind up taking yourself out of the ability to give yourself, because you're so guarding yourself emotionally and mentally that
Mm-hmm.
that's your biggest focus, and you forget that you're sharing your life with somebody. So they got to live up to my standards. Well, what if they can't? The next thing, you on to the next one, and you on to the next one, and you wind up losing your authenticity,
Mm.
because you're so tight to what you think is right for you. That's a good thing and a bad thing. You can't do too much of it, because your brain will just, you give everything that stank look. Oh, that ain't for me. And it's like, but you didn't give it a chance. You just saw one little thing that irked you. Red flag, red flag. And we do that because it's trendy now.
Mm.
And
Wow. That's deep.
just a little something to think about.
Yeah. Troy?
I told you he was different.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he is. That's my brother Numsi. I tell you,
Yeah,
That,
brother, don't see.
that's
I
why he
couldn't,
on this show. Hello.
I couldn't, I couldn't, I really, the people in my life have made me the man that I am today. But I guess the biggest thing that I can say to people, trying to get into a relationship is first, be able to be in a relationship with yourself, be able to be by yourself, be comfortable with your own company. Because if you ain't comfortable with you, then ain't nobody gonna be comfortable with you. And that's, if you don't have the capacity to like, love, and respect yourself. Again, my mom has said that to me since I was a child, and I didn't get it until I got it. Those are the things that one thing. It sounds cliched. It sounds like a line, but it is so real. It's the moment that I like, loved, and respected myself enough to be 10 toes down, like Andrea said, to be authentic, to live in my truth, to be just that dude, like Doug and I always talk about, just being that dude. Once I was that dude, there was nothing that could stop me. And then I could see things better. I could look towards first myself and then towards other people and make better decisions. And so, like and love yourself, understand who you are. Then when you go out, you're going to attract like-minded people.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Woo! I think that's the perfect place to end this. I want to thank you guys for joining me on Conversations with Tona Brown. This is Tona Brown. I am here with Troy Kennedy, Doug and Andrea, the lovely couple that's been together for 20 plus years. I am so happy to know these people. And I feel very blessed that you all are willing to share your stories with me and my audience. Thank you guys so much for coming.
You're very welcome, and it was a
It
pleasure.
was fun. Fun.
All right, you guys, thank you. And if you like content like this, please follow me on all the platforms. That reminds me. Do you guys want anyone, if anyone needs some advice or anything, is there a place where they can go to get advice from you guys?
Yes, I am associate pastor for Whosoever Metropolitan Community Church of Philadelphia. If you would like any kind of help, if you need a shoulder to cry on, you just need some help or resources, contact me at Lopez LaMour, LAMOUR, at yahoo.com, or Andrea.Harrington at Phila, PHILA.gov, GOV. And I will get back to you and help you as much as I can.
All right. I know Troy. I don't know if Doug, but Troy, I know you got places where they can go.
Doug and I actually were talking about the group that he helped us create, the Trans-Supported Brotherhood, that we are going to be revamping for 2025. That's going to definitely be a place where we're going to change how we interact and how we talk to the brothers. I'm also a board member at LGBT Detroit, which is the largest Black LGBT nonprofit in the Americas. So I am there to help. And hey, if you want to hit me up on social media, you can find me. I am Troy Kennedy. That's who I am. You can Google me. So I am available to have real conversations. If you want to come to us and you want to talk to us, we're here. And again, those being here for each other has made us better people, made us better men. And I think that we need to continue that example. It's frustrating, and Doug will agree with me. It's very, very frustrating at times. And there are times when he and I get together and have conversations and go, these guys are just pissing us off. But if we don't keep leading, if we don't keep just standing up, who else is going to do it?
That's right. And I appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and it is making a difference. And even if it seems like things are moving it's a little slower than you guys would like, you never know who is hearing even this. You see what I'm saying? So even though it doesn't seem like it's tangible, it doesn't mean that you're not affecting the world, just from the work that you both are doing. And I'm so pleased and honored to have you on my show doing this work. And anything I can do to ever support you all, have you all come back on to promote the things that you all are doing, just let me know. Thank you guys for coming on Conversations with Tona Brown. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Welcome.
All right. So if you are listening to this and you would like to follow, you can go on any of the platforms where you can hear podcasts. Please rate, comment, subscribe. Please let me know if there are some different topics that you would like to hear from my special guests. All of those good things. You all have a wonderful holiday. My birthday is tomorrow. I plan to just rest. As you can hear from my voice is like shot. So I'm going to try to just sleep and rest and just really enjoy my birthday. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for following Conversations with Tona Brown. Till the next one, peace.
Easy.